Hey guys, let's talk today about lunges and split squats. And is it bad to have your knee travel over your toes when you perform that exercise? It's an old belief that has been around for a very long time, that when you're performing any lower body exercise, really, that your toes should not be passing, or your knee shouldn't be passing the tip of your toes if you draw a vertical line from them, with the belief being that it puts too much stress on the knees and it's bad for your knees. So we're going to debunk this myth a little bit here today, and I'm going to give you some examples as to why it might not be as bad as you think, and a good way. I'll also show you a good way to perform split squats and lunges. So just to clarify from the beginning, people give those names to the same exercise interchangeably sometimes. I like to make the difference between the two by calling what you would call a static stance, and just going up and down, a split squat. And when you take a step back or a step forward, which makes the exercise more dynamic, I would call that a lunge. For the purpose of the video here, we're going to talk about split squat more specifically, even though a lot of the points I'm going to talk about can correlate to one or the other. But it's just going to be easier to show you and explain to you guys at the same time some of the positions and what everything means. So if we assume a standard split squat position, right, and I'm trying to perform this exercise without having my knee go over my toes in the front, it would mean that I'm going to try and keep my shin more vertical. Therefore, I would want to lower my hips and my center of gravity straight down rather than bringing it forward on the way down, right? So this would be a more properly performed split squat according to a lot of people, in the sense that the knee doesn't travel over the toes, and it actually just stays over the ankle of the heel. So when you're in this position, there is definitely less stress or less load on the knee of the front leg. There's no arguing that. The question becomes more, is that a bad thing? Is more load or more pressure a bad thing? You might be tempted to think that yes, it is, but if you are shifting your weight from this position to this position here, everything else on your body is also shifting. So if you look at your hips and your center of gravity, so if I'm trying not to get my knee over my toes on the front leg, then I have to bring my entire weight back. And what does that do? It's just going to put more weight load on the back leg. And now look at the position of my back knee, my back leg. So now this knee looks very good here in the front, but now on the back here, all the weight's on my toes and on my knee of that back leg. So even though this is safer for this leg here, I'm putting a lot more stress and pressure on this knee here. So is this really more advantageous to shift that weight back and keep that front chin at a vertical angle, to shift all the weight back on that back leg? Because that weight has to go somewhere. If it's not shifted forward and the load is not so much on this leg, then like I was saying, you're pulling everything back and shifting everything down more on this leg. So I hope you see where I'm going with this, that maybe after all, keeping some of the pressure on the front leg is not that bad. So the way I like to perform split squat and lunges, and the way I tell my clients and athletes how to perform them, I will say, let your knee go forward as much as you can, as long as the heel remains on the ground there. So this is a big point that I think makes a big difference with any lower body exercises, to try to keep your entire foot glued in the ground. So you want equal pressure from your heel all the way to your toes. There's a lot of people and coaches out there talking about the importance of keeping the weight on the heel to really engage the posterior chain properly, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but sometimes it leads to overcompensation of shifting the weight back so far that now we're like pulling the toes up and we're losing proprioception in ground, we're losing contact, we're losing engagement of all the muscles in the lower body that should be active and working. So I always coach a complete flat foot, equal pressure distributed from your big toe all the way to your heel, and then on a split squat here, let's let the knee go as far as we can let it go while maintaining the pressure on the heel and obviously maintaining your proper posture. We don't want that to become an excuse to lean forward into our movement. So nice posture, nice and tall. The weight is going to come down a little bit forward, but never without losing the pressure on the heel. So that is how I like to perform split squats and lunges, and why I think it might not be that bad after all if the weight is distributed forward in that manner. We're just going to get stronger in that range of motion. We're also going to increase our ankle mobility because the angle here at the ankle is going to be improved over time by trying to keep the heel down and shifting the knee forward at the same time. So hopefully this video makes sense to you guys. Hopefully it's helpful. If you have any questions, any comments, please post them below. And do me a big favor, if you enjoyed the video, share with your friends, and like the video, subscribe to my channel. That makes a big difference for me. So I'll see you guys next time.